I think somebody said, he that can enlist a man's mind wields a power more greater than he that holds a sword is kept out. What it means is a man that can actually influence
your mind,
get you to think what he wants you to think, holds more power than he that holds the gun to your head.
True.
Because you can actually be a slave to somebody else without even knowing it. Because if somebody physically enslave you, yes, you're a slave.
You're a slave.
But
if you're mentally
enslaved, you think, I'm making it's my decision, but you don't know that there's a back door that is actually influencing what you think is right or wrong.
So, what do you feel are the effects of these various cultural play? Like, if we say that culture, like we have various cultures that tend to have helped shape each and every one of us one way or the other. So, what would you say, or rather, how has this culture, or rather, what are the effects of this culture in developing us? Like, is it positive like, or is it negative like, or rather, what are the downstreams like? What are the effects of these various culture, and how do they necessarily affect us? Like,
well, this is a very delicate question,
because say, for example, now,
yes,
in this part of the country where we are, there's a certain culture, like, there's a certain way of life that has, in one way or the other, shaped us all to start acting in a certain way. Do you agree?
Yes.
So,
yes.
in the fact that this culture has caused us to act in a certain way, like, how is it affecting? Like, what would you say its necessary effect, like, to us and to the environment per se? Like, the environment gives, and then we give back to the environment. So, the things that we can agree that we are the effects of this culture.
Okay. I feel like we cannot remove the way our society is from the actions we make, because society it's made up of the people living in a particular environment. You understand? That's what society is. So how the people act is actually how the society will be. And most of the time, I feel culture are those norms, value, those unwritten rules that actually controls how people act within. It is more like an unwritten law. Understand?
Okay, so I feel I should make this question a little bit more regionalized. Like, in today's Nigeria's culture, how would you say our various today's culture, how would you say this culture, how would you say they are affecting us? Like, are they affecting us in a positive manner or in a negative manner in relation to lifestyle and in comparison to how culture was? Like,
I actually get your question in the first place. But the fact is, I cannot there's no way I will be able to just, and that's why I said the question is very delicate.
Okay.
I'm answering it and just going straight to the point, and actually leave a vacuum in understanding of where I'm coming from. So, what I feel is culture. It's a way of life of the people, a generally acceptable way of life, and what people actually accept, considering what is good and what is bad. Like I said earlier, that man at birth is a blank slate. So what people accept as good and bad is what society teaches them to accept.
The things that have become acceptable.
Yes, the things that, and the thing is, I don't know how to put this, but if it's possible for people to, for a particular people to point out people should accept. You understand? Like for example, when we usually have conversations, I usually talk about if you give me 20 children at birth and you tell me that okay, this is how I want. Before they are 20 years, this is how I want them to be thinking. This is the things I want them to accept, and this is the kind of personality I want them to exhibit. And then you put us in an isolated place, away from the influence of from the world, understand, the influence of other culture or any contrary way of life, you understand. And if you put us in an isolated place, I'll be able to, in 20 years, make those people exactly
the way you want them to be.
the way you ask them to make them to be, you understand. So, I feel if it's possible for people to control these agents of socialization, these things that actually,
These factors that help
develop society. People are actually in control of these things that help shapes personality, which is actually evidence.
Yeah, very evident.
Which is actually evidence. Yes, they'll be able to define what everybody in particular society see as good and bad actions. Understand? So this is one area most people don't talk about. There's something a lot of people are oblivious about. They don't really know. Understand?
But I feel one of the reasons things are like that is because there is a certain lack of awareness. Actually, if you ask me.
Of course. There's a vacuum of course, yes, I agree.
Because if people were able to identify how these factors build up, tend to carry them, because we can agree that at the end of the day, the accumulation or the acceptance of how these factors affect you will definitely bring an end product, which is the person per se.
Yes.
You get. So I feel there is a certain lack of awareness on their part in the sense that I don't think a lot of persons, I can admit or I can agree that people tend to take out time and go over how their experiences and how their environment and how everything they've actually come across has affected them in one way or the other, and then there's a certain form of evaluation on their part that will help them to align themselves to be the kind of person that they want to be, which is why I very much advise a lot of persons to take out time and reevaluate yourself, like ask yourself questions. So I feel if people would actually just be able to enlighten themselves in how culture, environment, family, and their daily experience is shaping them to be on a daily basis, then I feel there would be more understanding of how and who we are. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. And you can also remove the fact that people have to understand that it is